The Columbus Crew lose to the Timbers 3-2 last Saturday in Portland. Very late start time on the Eastern time zone. They were without Cucho Hernandez and head coach Wilfried Nancy for the suspensions that occurred in the New York City FC game. So their unbeaten match streak ends at 8. They're now winless in their last 3, as the previous 2 results before this loss were 2 draws. And they are now 6th in the MLS East, which I think that sounds worse than it actually is. There's a pretty big logjam in the middle of the table in this conference right now, so they could get a couple good results and climb a couple spots pretty soon. But this is where results like the draw against Miami come back to bite you, where you think on those moments where the Crew had points that they were going to leave the game with, but they give up a goal late, and those standing points go away. They slip through their fingers, and you think if those results go a different way, maybe the Crew are looking in a bit of a better spot. And the games aren't going to get much easier moving forward. They have Cincinnati coming to town Thursday evening. They do have Toronto after that, and they're pretty far down in the Eastern Conference table, so that might be an opportunity to get some points, but the Hell is Real Derby is definitely on the front of my mind right now, and they're still going to be without their head coach in Nancy, although Cucho Hernandez will return for that match. Into the match against Portland, however, the Timbers put pressure on early. In the 28th minute, the Crew have trouble clearing a corner. The ball gets to Asprilla eventually, who hits it into the far net. Now, Patrick Schulte did get a hand on it. Not enough to steer it clear from going inside of the net, though. Just a couple minutes later, the Timbers, with a throw-in pass, a great touch by Boley to spring a 2-on-1, and he found Asprilla again for another goal. Crew are down 2-0 in the blink of an eye, essentially. The score would stay that way until stoppage time of the first half, where Lucas Zelarayan would make magic happen. Cucho may be out of this game, but Lucas Zelarayan still very much in the lineup. Jason Russell-Rowe with the assist on this goal. However, the assist was essentially just get the ball to Lucas and watch him work his magic. So the Crew somehow down only 1 goal heading into the second half, where it felt like they did spend the majority of the first half on their heels. It certainly could have been much worse than what it was. Now, Columbus came out in the second half. They looked to tie it early. The game was stabilizing in the Crew's favor, in my opinion. And then Lucas Zelarayan with a booming shot from distance that beat Portland's keeper early in the 65th minute. Moreira with the assist, which again, the assist was essentially just kick the ball to Zelarayan, and congratulations, you now have an assist. Jason Russell-Rowe had an opportunity on a throw-in to put the Crew in the lead, and it didn't connect. The Timbers also had a sure header that was denied by the woodwork on the net, but it wouldn't really matter as Portland continued to press, and Blanco for the Timbers finishing a goal that might as well have been a 3-on-0, even though the Crew had plenty of guys that you would think could have defended anything, try to clear that ball, but none of them even really got close to touching it. And the Timbers finishing that off. I don't really care about the initial pass maybe possibly being offsides, because again, the Crew had plenty of guys back there. One of them should have been able to at least get a clearing attempt on the ball, but instead Portland cashing in on their opportunities. That's what they did. I'm not trying to say that Portland had it easy. They definitely earned their goals, but man, some of the breakdowns on defense for the Crew definitely makes some of these games infuriating to watch, especially when it's later in the game. You could walk away with a point even though you're down one of your best players and your head coach, but instead you give up a late goal in the 80th minute. So not as late as some of the goals the Crew have given up to lose points, but still in the later stages of the game. And that 3-2 score is how the game would end. Lucas Zelarayan, as I've said throughout this video, he was magnificent, had similar vibes to his first MLS season, where he was kind of head and shoulders above everyone else on the roster. He was definitely the main star before Cucho Hernandez came in, which makes sense because Hernandez wasn't available to play in this game. And you could tell that Cucho's absence was definitely felt. There seemed like there was something missing with the club, especially on the attack. Now, I don't know if him being in the game would have changed the outcome, as I do feel like all 3 of the goals were a result of just some shoddy defense. I'm not sure how much Cucho Hernandez, the Crew's defense has still been pretty rough, even with Cucho Hernandez in the lineup. But hopefully his return is a jolt to this club when they play Cincinnati. The assistant coach, who will still be the acting manager, I'm not going to be mad at him for, sub decisions or maybe not having as tight of a control on the game as we're used to with Nancy back there, because honestly, this is his first time doing the head coach thing. He doesn't have any doesn't have any prior experience with this, so it's not something that I think is worth my time to get angry and yell about. I'm more mad at MLS for suspending Nancy for another game, even though I'm not really sure what the extra game of suspension was for. I understand giving him the one game for the red card, but not really sure why throwing in the extra game against Cincinnati was necessary, but that's the situation the Crew will be dealing with. Now, it is fair that they did score a couple goals, but again, most of that was just because Lucas Zelarayan was putting in a tremendous individual effort, and hopefully the Crew, some of the other players on the roster, get a bit more aggressive with trying to put shots on net and seeing what happens. Cucho Hernandez coming back to the lineup should certainly help with that, but I guess we'll see how that results, how those shake out on Thursday. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you made it this far into it, you can let me know in the comments what you think will happen with the Crew and FC Cincy game down in the comments below, and I will see you at the next one.